सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु विद्विषावहै। शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रम् बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत्। करणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओमित्येतदक्षरमुद्गीतमुपासीत ओमिति ह्युद्गायते तस्योपव्याख्यानम् ओम अथ यदिदम् अस्मिन् ब्रह्मपुरे दहरं पुण्डरीकं वेश्म दहरोऽस्मिन् अन्तः आकाशः तस्मिन् यदन्तः तदन्वेष्टव्यम् तद्भाव विजिज्ञासितव्यमिति। Thereafter, as Vashyakara said, Anantaram अध्याय तात्पर्यम् संक्षेप विस्तराभ्याम दर्शयित्वा सो उत्तम बुद्धीन प्रति निर्विशेष ब्रह्मोदेशानन्तरं मंद बुद्धीन प्रति सविशेषम उपदिश्यते। अच्छा, for the Uttamadhikara is the Nirgunam Brahma was taught in the 6th and 7th chapters. Now, in the first 6th section of the 8th chapter is given the Upasana for the preparation for the inferior the adhikaris. Asmin Brahmapure, this body is described as Brahmapura, the Nagari or the town of Brahman, because Brahman dwells in this body. Where does it dwell? Dharam Pundarikam Veshma, the city of Brahman, there is this Veshma, the dwelling place of the nature of the lotus of the heart. Dharosmin Antarakasha, and in that lotus of the heart, there is a small space. Tasmin yadantaha, and what is in that space? Tadanveshtavyam, that has to be known. Tadva vijignasamidi, one has to seek to realize that. Page 346, 7. Then Bhashyakara said, so let us read the first line. Atha anantaram yadidam vakshamanam daharam alpam pundarikam pundarika sadrusham veshma eva veshma dvarapaladimatvat अस्मिन् ब्रह्मपुरे ब्रह्मणः पुरस्य पुरम् राज्ञः अनेक प्रकृतिमद् यथा पुरम् तथा इदम् अनेक इंद्रियमनोबुद्धिभिः साम्यर्थकारिभिः युक्तमिति ब्रह्मपुरम् अथ अनंतरम् सुबन्धानाम् अधिकार सिद्धि उपयोगितया सविशेष उपासना उच्यते. Now उपयोगितया, for the preparation of the mandadhikaris, now the upasanam is being stated here. Yadidam vakshamanam daharam alpam pundarikam veshma pundarikam veshma. So that lotus, the lotus-like dwelling of Brahman. Idam, what is idam means this is vakshamanam, of which the description will be given later on. So, description which follows vakshamanam, that will be stated subsequently. Daharam, alpam, pundarikam veshma. So Upanishad says Veshma, the dwelling, is the lotus-like dwelling of Brahman. So Pundarika means Pundarika Sadrusham. Not a lotus which is the dwelling, but lotus-like dwelling. Because heart is looked upon as a lotus bud, inverted lotus bud. And therefore, instead of like lotus, Upanishad says the lotus dwelling. So lotus-like dwelling. And Veshma, eva Veshma, again dwelling like dwelling. So neither it is lotus in the primary sense, nor is it dwelling in the primary sense, in the sense that Devadatta's dwelling and Devadatta lives inside the house. It's not that Brahman lives inside that dwelling called the lotus of the heart. But it is like dwelling. Why do you call it dwelling? Dvarapaladi matvat. So just as dwelling or a house or a palace of a king is possessed of the gatekeepers, etc. Similarly also, this dwelling of the nature of the lotus of the heart has 5, it will be said here, 5 gatekeepers. So Anandagiri explains here. So tatra tavat upasya ayatanam nirdeshate. So savishesham brahma upadishyate. This section is meant for instruction about the savishesham Brahma, Brahma with attributes. In that tatra tavat upasya ayatanam nirdeshate. So before describing what it is to be meditated upon, what is to be meditated upon is Brahman. But before describing Brahman, Ya Atma, Avatap Atma, etc., describing its attributes, the ayatanam, the dwelling of the location or the adhara, the support or where this is located, that is being first stated here. Yadidam vakshamanam dahar alpam pundarikam. So Hridaya pundarikasya veshma sadrusya hetumaha. Why is it that the lotus of the heart is compared to a dwelling or to a palace? Dvarapaladi matvat, possessed of things such as the gatekeepers, etc. सिद्धांगी तस्य हवाय तस्य हृदयस्य पंच देव सुषय इत्यादि श्रुते उक्त हेतु सिद्धि. Earlier, in the third chapter, in the context of the meditative upasana also, it was stated, tasya havaye tasya hridayasya, of this heart, in the primary sense heart, pancha deva sushaya. Sushi means a chidram or an opening. Deva sushaya. So of this heart, there are 5 gates which are protected by devatas. Deva sushaya, protected by the devatas. Or if you go to the other tika, says same thing. Tasya vaya tasya hridayasya panchadeva sushaya. Then of course further description was given that 5 are the openings of this heart in the 4 directions. The east, south, north, west and north and above. So thus there are as though 5 openings of the heart. So Upanishad said that time, Asahayasya Prang Sushi. So that which is the eastern gate, Sah Prana. So that's where the Prana dwells. So Prana, the Devata Prana, is as though the Dwarapala, the protecting deity or the gatekeeper of the gate which opens in the eastern direction. Tat Chakshu Saditya, that Prana alone is Chakshu, that alone is Aditya. And then one has to meditate. If you look at this, go back to the 3rd chapter. Page 105. It started with this one. So Gayatri va idam sarvam bhutam, etc. Begin with Gayatri. So the meditation with the help of Gayatri, that where the meditations take place in the heart, and the description of seva etasya hridayasya pancha deva sushaya sayovasya prang sushi sat prana. That eastern gate, that's a prana. Tat chakshu saditya, that alone is a prana. Is in between the eyes and the nose. So therefore, prana also is associated with the eyes, which again associated with the Surya. So Aditya. Tadetat teja annadya upasita. Now that has to be meditated upon as brightness as well as the annadyam, the cause of food. Tejasvi annado bhavati evam. When one meditates, becomes also bright as well as the eater of the eatable food. Then dakshina sushihi, the southern opening is vyanaha. And udang sushihi, the northern opening is pratyang sushihi, the western is apanaha. Northern sushihi is samanaha, urdhva sushihi udanaha. So in each case, of course, the corresponding organ and corresponding presiding deity. And so Dakshina Sushihi Vyanaha, the organ is the Shrotram, the presiding deity is the Chandrama, and so forth. So this is how the 5 gates, the 5 presiding officers, devatas were all described. So referring to that, Bhashyakara said, Dwarapaladi. So not only gatekeeper is there, but the corresponding organ also is there, the presiding deity also is there. So since heart possesses all of this, similarity with a palace, therefore the heart, lotus heart, can be said to be like a palace, like Veshma, like a dwelling. Okay, going back to the page 347. The Tika said in line 27, Tat chakshuhu sadityadina pranadinuktva. So 5 pranas were described as the 5 devatas who protect these 5 gates. Devayete pancha brahma purushaha swargasya lokasya dvarapaha. So these are the 5 purushas, devatas, who are the dvarapaha, the gatekeepers of the 5 openings of the heaven. Idi hridaya pundarekasya dvarapaladi matvam. Thus the lotus of heart is possessed of the gatekeepers and the corresponding organs, etc. Gayatri va idam sarviti brahmana uktam. So as we said, in that brahmana beginning with this verse, Gayatri va idam sarvam, this is where the description was given. Adi shabdena prang suhityadina ukta dvarvatvam gruhyade. So prana dvara paladimatvam adi shabdena. So prang sushi. So the eastern gate and this southern gate, etc., is all to be included. Okay. Now the Tika continues, page line 30. Idam shabdasya vishesh abhidhanartham vyavitamapi dharam ityadi padatrayam vyakhyaya. See, if you look at the Shruti, after that idam asmin brahmapure dharam pundarikam veshma. Between the word idam and dharam pundarikam veshma or pundarikam veshma, asmin brahmapure dharam. So these words are there. So Bhashyakara explained idam connected with pundarikam veshma. That word with idam, Bhashyakara, this lotus-like dwelling. So these words were first explained. Now the remaining word asmin brahmapure dharam, Bhashyakara proceeds to explain that. Padatram vyakya idam kutra tat. Where is that lotus of the dwelling, where the lotus-like dwelling? Jignasayam Brahmapure. That this lotus-like dwelling is in Brahmapura, in the city of Brahman. Asmin, it is Bhashyakara says. Asmin Brahmapure. In this city of Brahman. So what is that? Bhashyakara said, Brahmanaha Parasya Puram. Parasya Brahmanaha Puram. So this is Puram, the city of Param Brahma. Not Aparam Brahma. So Brahman is only one. That Brahman, when meditated upon or looked upon from the standpoint of Upadhi, it is called Sagunam. The same Brahman is called Sagunam or Savishesham or Supadhikam Brahma when looked upon from the standpoint of the Upadhi or the attributes. But Brahman is one. Namely what? Parasya Brahmana Puram. This is the Puram, the city of Param Brahma. Ragnya Aneka Prakriti Madhyasa Puram. Yatha Ragnya Puram. Just as there is the city of a king. Aneka Prakriti Mat. Prakriti means ministers or officers. So just as the city of a king is possessed of many officers and ministers, Tatha, similarly, this dwelling also, this city, this is the body, is described as the city of Brahman. So this body has the features similar to a city. So what are the features in a traditional city? It has the ministers and officers. Similarly also, the city called the body, which is the city of Brahman, also is possessed of Aneka Indriya Manobuddhivihi. City also is possessed of Aneka Indriya, many sense organs, the mind, the intellect. Again, although officers or ministers are meant for the king, they serve the purpose of king. Similarly also, Swamyarthakarivihi. In this body also, the sense organs, the mind, intellect, all of them serve the purpose of the Brahman, so the self. Yuktam, so there is similarity. So first of all, the lotus of the heart has a similarity with dwelling, and this body has the similarity with city, understand? So, therefore the city is called, the body is called the city of Brahman, and the heart is called the dwelling of Brahman in the Brahmapuram. Siddhanagi tasya ashram darshayati. So where is ashram? Where is this dwelling located? In the body. So body is the ashraya, the location or that which supports the dwellings, namely the lotus of the heart. So Brahman is in the heart and heart is in the body. So Brahman has its location in the heart, even location, the space in the heart. So it's Brahman, which is located as though in the space, which is located in the heart, which is located in the body. So body is the heart is a space within, and within that is Brahman. So this is how the description is. And therefore, the body becomes the ashraya, the location or locus of the heart. Heart becomes the locus of the space. Space becomes the locus of Brahman. So that's how the description is. So Anagiri says, Sharirasya Brahmapuratvam Drishtantena Sadhayati. How do you call this body as a city of Brahman? So Drishtantena, with an illustration, Bhashyakara explains how the city where image can be called, body can be called the city. So Ragnya, it says Ragnya Aneka Prakrimat Yathapuram. Just as the city of a king is possessed of many ministers and officers. Or going to other tika, line 31. So Parasya Brahmana Puram. Bhashyakara said, this body is the Puram, the city of Param Brahma, not of anybody else. So Tikakara says, Brahma Shabdena Jivasya Tad Bhinnasya Grahe. If this is looked upon as city of Jivatma, body, and Jivatma is thought to be different from Brahman, suppose, then Tatpure Brahmana Veshma Ayoga. If this is the city of the Jiva, and then if this is locus of where the Brahman is, so if city belongs to Jiva, and the dwelling belongs to Brahman, cannot be. So dwelling, the palace should belong to the same one to whom the city belongs. So city also, so if this lotus of the heart is like a palace, dwelling place of the king, then the city also should belong to the same king to whom the dwelling belongs. If on the other hand, this body is looked upon as city of Jivatma, in that there is this lotus of the heart which is the dwelling of Brahman. It cannot be Brahman dwells in the city of somebody else. So says, Nai anyasya ragnya pure anyasya ragnya veshma drishtam. A king cannot dwell in a palace which belongs to somebody, some other king. King will dwell in a palace which belongs to him, in the city that belongs to him. Therefore, city also should be of the same owner of the king, which is the dwelling place of, the palace. And so, since Param Brahma, the lotus of heart, is said to be the Veshma dwelling of Param Brahma, therefore, the city also is of Param Brahma. Sharirasya puratvartham tasadushamah. how the body is called the city, this similarly was stated there, Rajnya, etc. Then Swamyarthakarivi tada idam aneka indriya manobuddhi Swamyarthakarivi. So again, Prakriti Tulya ityartha. The city, the sense organs, the mind, the intellect are comparable to the ministers or the officers. Then says Tika Brahma Veshma Bhuta Pundariga Adhikaranatvacha Rajavesha Adhikaranasya Rajapuratvat Sharisya Brahma Puratvaidyaha. Brahma Veshma Bhuta Pundariga Adhikaranatvacha. The body is Adhikaranam, the location of the Pundarika, the lotus, which is the dwelling of Brahman. So this heart, the lotus of the heart, which is the dwelling of Brahman. Since the lotus of the heart is like the palace, is located in the body, therefore also the body can be called the Brahmapuram. Rajaveshadhikaranasya Rajapuratvat. Just as the palace of the king is always located in the city that belongs to the king, so also the dwelling of Brahman must necessarily be in a city which belongs to Brahman. So Purecha Bhashyakara says, Vatattaruktam Veshman Drishtandina Sadhayati, or again by Drishtanda Bhashyakara explains how the lotus of the heart is the dwelling of Brahman. So Bhashyakara says, Purecha Veshma Rajnya Yatha Tatha Tasmin Brahmapure Sharire Daharam Veshma Brahmana Upalabdhyadhishthanamithyartha. Purecha Rajnya Veshma. Just as in a regular city, you have the Veshma, the dwelling or palace of the king. Tatha tasmin Brahmapure sharire. Similarly also in his body, which is said to be the city of Brahman, the Haram Veshma is also a small dwelling, namely the lotus of the heart. So just if you want to see the king, where will you go? To the palace where there is a dwelling place of the king. So also if you want to see Brahman, where will you go? Where is the dwelling place of Brahman? Which is the heart. So Brahmana Upalabdhi Adhishthanam ityartha. Since heart is the place where one can realize Brahman as a self. That's all. There's a similarity. Meaning that here Brahmapuri, Veshma, all of these are not to be taken in primary sense, in secondary sense, but still in Gauna sense also. The body is called the city of Brahman, heart is called the dwelling of Brahman, because they do have features similar to a city and Brahman, so they can be said to be so in a secondary sense, but not in primary sense that Brahman is located, etc. Brahman Upalabdhi Sthanam ityartha. Because Upalabdhi, the realization. So that is where Brahman is seen or realized. Therefore, the lotus of heart can be said to be the dwelling place of Brahman. So Anandagi says, Katham punah sarvagatasya nirvayasya brahmana yathokta veshma nishthattvameti. So Brahman is all pervasive. You can't say Brahman is one location. And secondly, who can have a house? A person who is limited, like Devadatta, who is a person having different limbs that were defined, that person can have a dwelling. So Brahman cannot have dwelling in a primary sense because number one, Devadatta should be limited for Devadatta to have dwelling, and Devadatta should have limbs for him to enter the dwelling, etc. Brahman neither is limited because it is all pervasive, nor is Brahman possessed of any limbs because Niravayavatva. And therefore, Sarvagatasya Niravayasya Brahmana. Sarvagatam because Niravayavam is partless, therefore also all pervasive. Katham yathokta veshmanishtatvam. How can you say that Brahman such as that has its nishtha or dwelling in a lotus-like heart? So said, Brahmana upalabdhisthanam ityartha. Only because Brahman is realized there, in that sense alone it is said that the lotus of the heart is the dwelling place of Brahman. Same thing, of course, the other Tikakara says in line 34. Hrudayasya dvarpalimatvena veshmatvepi na brahma veshvatma. All right. You can say the heart is a dwelling place because it possesses the features of a dwelling place. Like a palace has gates and has gatekeepers. So also the heart has gates and has gatekeepers. In that sense you can say that the lotus of heart is a dwelling place. But na brahma veshmatvam. It cannot become the dwelling place of Brahman. Tasya sarvagatasya veshmana paricchinnena sambandha ayogat. Because Brahman is all pervasive, therefore cannot have association with the dwelling, which is a limited thing. Iti ashankya devdattasya veshmaswaminah tatra upalabdhivat. Again, what similarity? Just as Devadatta, which dwells in a house, so if you want to see Devadatta, you go to where Devadatta lives. Similarly also, Tatra upalabdhivat brahmanopi hriday upalabdhi matrena. If you want to know Brahman, where will you go? Go to the heart. In that sense again, it is the dwelling of Brahman. So heart has a similarity with dwelling because possessed of gates and gatekeepers. How can you say heart, which is such a small little thing, become the dwelling of Brahman? Because just as when you want to see the person who dwells, you go to the dwelling, so you go to heart to see Brahman. Therefore, again in the secondary sense, this lotus of the heart can be said to be the dwelling of Brahman. So tad veshvatma upachariyate. By upachara, in a secondary sense, heart is said to Veshma or dwelling of Brahman. Again says Tikakara, Sarvagatasya tatreva katham ulabdhi iti ashankya. So, Brahman, that is all pervasive. How do you say that Brahman is realized in the heart? Tatreva dhyayamana samprasidati. So when Brahman is meditated upon, when you meditate upon Brahman in the heart, then Brahman becomes prasidati, becomes pleased, becomes favorable. So therefore, Brahman also has its own, let us say, the likes, preference. You can meditate upon Brahman anywhere. When you meditate upon Brahman in the heart, then that is particularly dear to Brahman, and therefore Brahman becomes favorable to you. Tatraiva tasya upalabdhi. Therefore, that alone you can see in the heart, upalabdhi is the knowledge or realization of Brahman. Iti shastra pramanyat avagamyate. So this is, we know, that lotus of the heart is the location or the locus which the Shastra prescribes as the locus of meditation upon Brahman. Therefore, Tat anurupam drishtantamah. Bhashyakara gives a drishtanta, says, Yatha Vishnoho Shalagramaha. So if you want to realize Vishnu, where will you go? Shaligrama. So when you meditate upon Vishnu and Shaligrama, then Vishnu becomes mightily pleased. Lord Vishnu likes that location. So you can meditate. He is all pervasive, Vishnu also. So theoretically you can meditate upon him on anywhere. But when you meditate upon Vishnu and Shaligrama, then it becomes specifically favorable. So God is everywhere. When you go to temple, then He particularly becomes pleased with you. So why do you go to temple? God is everywhere. He is everywhere. But when you invoke God or Lord in a temple, in that vigraha, the Lord becomes specifically favorable to you. That's why we go to see Him there. Again, Tika says, Prakriti tulya indriyadi yuktatvat shariram brahmapurim iti uktam. That body is the Brahmapuram, the city of Brahma, because yuktatvat, being possessed of the Prakriti ministers, the officers, such as the sense organs, mind, intellect. That's what you say, it ayuktam. It's not right. Somebody raised a question here. It's not right to say that the body is the city of Brahman. Indriyadina jiva prakrititvat. But sense organs and mind and intellect are the officers of Jivatma. They serve the purpose of Jivatma. How do you bring in Brahman? It's well known that Jivatma dwells in his body. He is a karta, bhokta, drashta, shrota, manta, vijnata. And all sense organs, mind, intellect, all of them serve his purpose. Therefore, jiva prakrititvat, all of the prakriti are the officers of the jivatma iti asankya. Then how do you call this body this city of Brahman? It says Brahmana eva jiva rupena praveshat. Because Brahman alone has entered this body as jivatma. Jivo Brahmaiva iti. Therefore, jiva is indeed Brahman. Therefore, even though they serve jiva, in fact, they only serve Brahman because in the form of jiva is Brahman. Iti pariharan tatreva upalabdhim upapadayati. And so, refuting this doubt or question, again, Bhashyakara shows the reason how the upalabdhi or the realization is there alone in this body. Asmin hi. Or again, Anandagiri said in line 15, Nanu samsarinaha brahmatiriktasya swakarmoparjidena sharirena swamitva sambandha. Another way of looking. Nanu samsarinaha. Now, who is associated with this body? Who does the body belong to? To samsari. Because body itself is the expression of samsara. This body has been acquired as a result of karma performed by a karta, bhokta, which is samsari. Therefore, this body is acquired by, is earned by, created by the karma of a particular jiva. Therefore, the body has relation with a given jiva. Samsara brahmatiriktasya. Is well known that Jiva-Atma is different from Brahman because Jiva-Atma is samsari. Brahman cannot be samsari. Brahman cannot be samsari. Brahman cannot be karta, bhokta. Brahman cannot perform action. Brahman cannot have body, cannot be related to a body. Swakarma uparjitena sharirena swamitva sambandha. So Jiva also came to be related to this particular body. Because his body has been formed or created by the karma performed by the jiva in the past. As Bada means every karma you perform, you are in fact creating a blueprint for yourself. So every karma, anything you do, physically, orally or mentally, you are drawing a line on the blueprint of the future. So thus this body has been the final product of the blueprint that this fellow has been drawing over a number of years, a number of lifetimes, and thus he has acquired this body. Sakarmoparjitena sharena swamitva sambandha. Say this body has been uparjita, has been earned by the karma performed by the jiva. Therefore jiva is related to the body, is a master of this body, Swami. No Brahman, but Brahman doesn't perform karma. So how can the Brahman has any relation with this body? And therefore, how can this body be called the city of Brahman? No Brahmana tat asambandhina. So jiva is related with body, not Brahman. Katham tatra upalabdhi. Therefore, Brahman which is asambandhi, not related to the body. How can you say that the realization of Brahman takes place in his body? So Bhashyakara says, Asmin hi swavikara shunge dehe nam rupa vyakarnaya pravishtam sadakhyam brahma jivena atmana iti uktam. So, asmin is dehe, in this very body. What is the body? Swavikara shunge. See, swavikara shunge. Swa means what? Brahmana or Satah. So, Sadakhyam Brahma. Thing is, the 6th chapter of the Chandogya describe how this deity called Brahman deliberated anena jivena atma anupashya nam rupe vyakarmani. So this tisraha devataha. So these 3 devatas, what are the 3 devatas? The tejaha, up, annam, the 3 elements. When enter these 3 devatas or elements as their jiva, for what? Manifestation of names and forms. So names and forms can be manifested only when consciousness is there. So consciousness has entered this body for the manifestation of the names and forms. So consciousness entered this body as Jivatma for manifestation of names and forms. So this was the description in the 6th chapter. There the word used was Sat. So Bhashyakara said Sadakhyam Brahman. So Brahman, that is called Sat. And again Brahman alone, the Sat alone created these 3 elements. So Tat Aikshata. So Bahusyam Prajaya iti Tat Tejaha Asrujata. That Brahman of the nature of Sat then deliberated or saw, may I become many, may I be born. Tat Tejaha Srujata, and thus created Tejaha, the element fire. Then Brahman, in the form of fire, again deliberated, may I become many, and created or water. Again Brahman as water, deliberated, may I become many, create Annam or the element earth. So Chandogya described these 3 elements, the fire, water and earth also are products of Brahman, sprouts of Brahman. Brahman is the cause and 3 elements are the effect. So Swavikara Shunge. Shunga means a sprout. So these 3 elements are of the nature of sprout, which are the modifications of its own in Brahman. Swavikara Shunge Dehe. So Deha of the body is made up of the 3 elements. And 3 elements are the modification, Kari, effect of Brahman. So in effect, this body also is nothing but the Shunga, the sprout or the effect of Brahman. Nam Rupa Vyakaranae Pravishtam. So Upanishad said how Brahman, the consciousness, the Sat, has entered this body for manifestations of names and forms. Anina Jivena Atmana, as Jivatma will enter. So Brahman alone here manifests as Jivatma. So even though this can be primarily the body of Jiva, in effect, what is thought to be Jiva is none other than Brahman. Therefore, it is also the body of Brahman. So says Anandagiri, Brahmana Jivatmana Srishte Karye, Shungi means Karye. So, Jalarkavat Praveshe. Brahmana Jalarkavat Praveshe. So, Srishte Karye, the entry of Brahman into Karya, the effect, that is body that is created, Jalarkavat Praveshe, like the sun enters the water. So Brahman entered this body. All this Bhashyakara described. Entry also is not in the primary sense, it is comparable to the entry of the sun in water. Hridaya Pundarikasya Brahmopalabdhi Adhishthanattvam Puroktam Aviruddham. Therefore, that because Brahman alone has entered this body, therefore, in the lotus of the heart, that Brahman can be realized, I was stated earlier, is quite in order. Or the other Tika says, Savikara Shunge Ityanena Anina Somya Shungena Apamula Nitchetyanena Uktamapi Upalabdhi Prakaram Sujayati. That is another way also. Savikara Shunge. So how the sixth chapter talked about the realization of Brahman is Anina Somya Shungena Apamula Nitcha. Hey Somya, good looking one. By the sprout of the nature of the body. What is the cause of this sprout of the body? It's the element water. And that again is sprout. What's the cause of that? Element fire. There also is sprout. What is cause? Brahman. So that way also the body can become, as stated there, the place for realization of Brahman. Through that process of knowledge, or the body also can become the place of realization of Brahman through meditation also. Iti anen uktamapi upalabdhi prakaram suchayati. So that upalabdhi prakaram, the method of realization of Brahman also is suggested by Bhashyakara by the use of the words, so swakarya shunge, swavikara shunge dehe, by specifically using the word shunga. Bhashyakara also brings to our attention that this body also can become the basis for realization of Brahman by tracing the effect into the cause and ultimately reaching the primary cause. Again going to page 348, the Tika in the line 23rd, Praveshe anena jivena atma ityadikam shrutim pramanayati. How do you say Brahman is entered? Anena jivena atmana anupravishya namarupe vyakarvani. The Shruti says Brahman is entered as Jivatma. Sharir Hrudayoho Puratva Veshvatmokte Kim Prayojanam. Alright. So with all this reasoning, Bhashyakara has established how. So Upanishad says Brahmapura, understand? Then Bhashyakara interpreted Brahmapuram as Shariram. And the Haram Pundarikam Veshma, Bhashyakara interpreted it as the lotus of the heart. So by proper reasoning, Bhashyakara established how this body can, in a secondary sense, be called the city of Brahman, and how the heart also in the secondary sense can be called the dwelling place of Brahman. That is established. So Sharira Hrudayoho Puratva Veshvatva, all right. So Sharira is said to be the city and the heart is said to be the dwelling. Kim Prayojanam. So what's the reason why this similarity is given? So why is body called the city of Brahman? Why the heart called the dwelling of Brahman? They are asking, Tatraiva Vakshamana Sadhana Sampannai Brahma Upalabhyadedi Kinapanam Prayojanam. Tatraiva, in this body and in this heart. So that is why human body becomes very important. Because heart is located in this body. And adequate effort for realization can be made only in this body, or the human body. So tatraiva vakshamana sadhana sampannai, body itself, in the heart itself, by those possessed of the vakshamana sadhana, the spiritual disciplines that will be subsequently stated. So those that are possessed of the spiritual disciplines subsequently stated, Brahma Upalabhyate, that they can realize Brahman here in this body, in the heart. Iti Jnapanam Prayojanam. To enable us to see this, or to tell us, teach us that this is how Brahman can be realized, is the purpose of calling this body Brahmapuri and the heart the Pundarikam Veshma. So Tasmat, Subhashakara says, Tasmat Asmin Hriday Pundarike Veshmani Upasamhrita Karanihi Bhashya Vishay Viraktehi Visheshatah Brahmacharya Satya Sadhanabhyam Yuktaihi Vakshamana Gunavata Dhyayamanaihi Brahma Upalabhyate Iti Prakaranartha. So, Prakarana is this state, this sentence, this Vakya. So, what's the purpose of this Vakya? So, Asmin Brahmapure Yadam Pundarikam Veshma Pundarikam Veshma. So, what's the purpose? Tasmat Asmin Hriday Pundarike, in this lotus of the heart, Veshmani, which is the dwelling place of Brahma. Brahma Upalabhyate, Brahma is realized by whom? Upasamvrita Karanaihi, those have withdrawn their sense organs in the mind from these external sense objects, then those who have folded up, withdrawn their sense organs in mind. When is that possible? Bhashya Vishay Viraktai. So who is able to bring inward or turn inward the mind and sense organs? Vishay Viraktai, Bhashya Vishay Viraktai. Those who have discovered the Vairagya or dispassion towards the external objects of pleasure. Usually, since the sense organs have an affinity for the pleasures of corresponding sense objects, therefore the sense organs in the mind usually are directed outward. So only when one discovers a Vairagya, the dispassion from the sense objects, that alone is possible to withdraw the mind and sense organs. But that alone is not enough. Visheshatah Brahmacharya Satya Sadhanabhyam Yuktai. And particularly those who are endowed with the spiritual disciplines of Brahmacharya continence as well as Satya, the truthfulness. Vakshamana Gunavat Dhyayamanaihi. Those who meditate upon Brahman, Vakshamana Gunavat. So those who meditate upon Brahman, which will be subsequently described as possessed of those attributes, Ya Atma, Apahata Papma, etc. So meditating on Brahman, such as that, Brahmopalabhyade. So Brahman is realized by these sages, by these yogis, by these meditators who have, number one, withdrawn their mind and sense organs from external objects. Number two, possessed of the disciplines of Brahmacharya and Satya. So when they meditate upon Brahman, possessed of the attributes to be stated subsequently, they realize Brahman in the heart. Therefore, the purpose is, this is the purpose for calling the body as city of Brahman and heart as the dwelling of Brahman. Iti prakranartha. So that's the meaning of this prakranam, or this particular sentence. Prakran is not over anyway. So yadidam asmin brahma puryadharam pundikam veshma. That is the purpose. That's all. The Tikakara said, Tasmaditi Purveshvatma Ukti Tat Shabdartha. So Tasmat means Pura, because Pura and Veshvatma Ukti, two things are told. That this is the city of the Brahman and this is the dwelling of Brahman. Having described that being the case, therefore, since body is the city of Brahman and heart is the dwelling of Brahman, therefore, when you meditate upon Brahman in that location, that is when the realization takes place. Iti prakranartha, iti shabdanantaram, jnapyate iti sheshaha. So, dhyayamana brahmopalabhyate iti jnapyate. So, this is what the Shruti wants us to know. That those who meditate upon Brahman as located in the heart, they realize it. आकाश शब्दितस्य ब्रह्मणः दहरत्वम् औपाधिकं न स्वतः. आकाश शब्दितस्य ब्रह्मणः. Again, Brahman alone is called Akasa, the space. And this space is all pervasive. Brahman also is all pervasive. So, Dharatvam, he said that there is this heart which is small and there is space which is even smaller. So, how can Brahman, then Brahman is in that space. So, how can Brahman be called so small or minute when it is all pervasive? So, that minuteness or smallness of Brahman is not inherent in Brahman, aupadikam. It is because of association with the space within the heart which is so small, because associated with that, Brahman also is called Daharam or small. Vishma Bhashyakara says, Daharaha alpataraha asmin dahare veshmane veshmanaha alpatvat tat antarvartinaha alpataratvam veshmanaha. Daharah asmin antah akasah. Asmin antah dahara akasah. In this dwelling of the nature of lotus, there is akasha, space which is small, or you can say smaller. So in the city of the Brahman there is body, there is small dwelling place called the heart, and that the space is small or even smaller. The haram is alpa, but alpa tarah, smaller than the dwelling. Asmin dahare veshmane. In this small dwelling of the lotus, there is even this space which is even smaller, more minute. Veshmana alpatvat tadantarvartina alpataratvam. So because Veshma dwelling itself is small, therefore what dwells in the dwelling has to be smaller than the dwelling, isn't it? If Devadatta lives in a house, Devadatta must be smaller than the house. And sometimes those doors in the houses are also so small, low, that a tall person cannot go in there. That if Devadatta is tall, the doors must be tall enough for him to enter. And therefore, the one who dwells within a dwelling must be smaller than the dwelling. And therefore, Brahman, the space that dwells in the heart, must be smaller than the heart. So, antarvartina Veshmana alpataratvam, therefore the Veshma, so Veshmana alpatvam. So what dwells inside is smaller than the dwelling. So Veshmana alpatva, that Veshmana is which case? Sixth case. Tadantarvartina alpataratvam Veshmana. What is that? Veshmana is fifth case. So what dwells within the heart is even smaller than the heart, So what dwells in there? Antarakasha Akashakyam Brahma. So Dahara Asmin Antah Akasha. What is within that dwelling? Within that is Akasha, the space. Akashakyam Brahmanam says, by the word Akasha is meant what? Brahman. So that's what the Shruti said. So Dahara Asmin Antah Akasha. That this Veshma or the dwelling itself is small, in that there is space which is even smaller. So by the word Akasha, Bhashyakara says is Brahman. So Brahman dwells in that, in the heart. So Brahman, which is called space, dwells in that heart, which is a dwelling place. Otherwise it would have been stated that in the heart there is space, in the space there is Brahman. But here Bhashyakara says space itself is Brahman. So not that Brahman is in the space, Brahman itself is space dwelling in the heart. Akash shabdasya bhutaakash vishayatvam vyavardayati. So when Upanishad use the word Akash, space, don't think that it is this elemental space. So by the word Akasha, tasmin, so antah Akasha. So the asmin antah Akasha. So when Upanishad use the word Akasha, it is not in the sense of the elemental space. The Bhashyakara clarified, Akasha means Brahma. So Akasha kim Brahma. कथम वाक्य शेषे भी आकाश शब्द ब्रह्मणि वर्तते. So how do you interpret Akash as Brahma? Because Vakya Sheshe is the subsequent part of the Upanishad. Brahman will be described as Akasha. So say it. Akasho vai nama iti vakshate. So nama is inverted commas. Nama rupayo nirvahita. So that's so Brahman is what? Nama rupayo nirvahita. Is accomplisher of names and forms. Akasho vai nama rupayo nirvahita. That's in the 8th, again the 14th section of this chapter. That Akasha indeed is the accomplisher of names and forms. So accomplisher or the creator must necessarily be conscious being. That is why the word Akasha there is meant Brahma. But how does Upanishad even there say that Akasha is Brahma? So katham vakya sheshe bhi Akash shabda brahmani vartate. So you are quoting this Akash vai nama rupayoh nirvahita, all right. But there our Akasha is used in the sense of Brahman. But even there also, how can Shruti use the word Akasha in the sense of Brahman? So Bhashyakara says, Akasha iva ashariratvat sukshmatva sarvagatatva सामान्याच्च Akasha, Brahman is like Akasha space, ashariratvat. Space has no limbs. Niravayavam, partless, also is ashariram. Doesn't have body, is partless. Sukshmatvat, Sukshmatva sarvagatatva samanyat. Akasha space is the subtlest of all the elements and sarvagatam, all pervasive. So Brahman also is subtlest at the same time all pervasive. So space is formless, all pervasive, and at the same time the subtle. So the Brahman is all pervasive, it is formless as well as extremely subtle. So because of similarities between Brahman and Akasha, in a secondary sense, Akasha is said to be Brahman. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeri Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.